Hello and welcome to the It's Your Time show. I am so excited that you are here, that we are here, and that this is a brand new show. So as you are joining us, if you're joining us live, let us know in the comments. Let us know where you're joining from. If this is our first time hanging out, then also I hope that you would let me know this too. And if you are listening to this on replay, let us know in the comments that you are listening on replay. So, my name is Abigail Barnes. I am the founder of Success by Design Training. I am a time management author, speaker, trainer, and I am here today joined by the amazing Dr Lynda Shaw for episode 1 of the of the It's Your Time show. We're not on the Productive Wellbeing show anymore. So the intention with this show is that every single week we will be joined by guests who are either entrepreneurs or professionals from around the world to share their transformational, life-changing stories and experiences with us to give us proof of what's possible after adversity, as well as inspiring and motivating you, all of us, to take control of our time and to take actions on our dreams. So, as I said, this week I am joined by the amazing Dr. Lynda Shaw, who is an applied cognitive neuroscientist, a business psychologist, and the national president of the Professional Speakers Association UK and Ireland. She's also an enthusiastic and highly engaging speaker who delights audiences around the world. And without that just being so amazing, she is an author as well. In this episode, in this first inaugural episode of the show, Dr. Lynda, as I like to call her, is going to be interviewing me as I share my own life-changing story of transformation that began in 2012 on a work business trip to Boston in America, so that we really set the foundation for this show, and that every week we can just meet new people. And the intention is that you take away from show after show after show after show, it's your time. And if it's possible for anybody else, it is possible for you. So with that being said, Dr. Lynda, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Abigail, and thank you for trusting me to interview you on your very first show. I'm really proud and honoured. Thank you very much.
I am so excited. So this is so weird that on my first show, I'm handing the mic over to Dr. Lynda. So I am, officially, you are now flying the plane. So here we go. Over to you.
Okay, well, but the very first question I've got is, tell us a bit about the 4-year-old Abigail.
So 4-year-old Abigail was inquisitive, she was thoughtful, she was helpful, she was a dreamer. She just had this belief that everything was happy and fun, and everything and everybody should be happy and fun. And why wasn't everything happy and fun? So 4-year-old Abigail kind of used to walk into a room and just entertain people, and just to, get laughs and make people smile. That was her job in life.
That's really beautiful. I love that. So what did success mean to you when you were growing up, if it started like that?
Success for me really just was that everybody around me was happy, that there weren't any dramas, and that people just laughed and enjoyed themselves. And so it was very, very simple. And I think that for me now, in my career, in my business life, running my own business, it's about making sure that my clients are really tapping into what it is that makes them happy, and finding that whatever success is, because it's so transient.
It is transient and different for everybody, isn't it? So who influenced you on your life journey?
I love this question. I get asked this quite a lot. And my answer is very, very eclectic. I was influenced by mostly athletes, but also, like, I'm going to share this on someone else's podcast coming up, but I'll share it here. Also, Sally Gunnell was one of my biggest inspirations. I think growing up, the Barcelona Olympics was quite pivotal for me. And so just seeing her and what she did in those hurdles was just, it was beyond, no, she didn't do the hurdles. She did the 400-meter race. Was just beyond inspiring. So for me, it was athletes. It was people who sort of trained in their craft and performed on a stage.
And that and serious dedication, of course, and grabbing their time. Absolutely grabbing their time. So this show is all about anyone's life-changing experience. So please, can you tell us about your life-changing experience?
Yeah, so my life-changing experience is now the reason that I do what I do. I started out working in finance, in investment management, asset management, and hedge funds, doing marketing. And then one day I was told that I was going to go on a work business trip to America, to Boston. And I thought I'd made it, because for me to be able to travel for business was everything. It was sort of the thing on the pedestal that I really put out there, that I just wanted to be a successful, powerful businesswoman traveling. And that's all. I didn't know anything else. So for me, sort of arriving in America, and then the situation that happened and unfolded wasn't quite the plan that I had in my head. So I arrived in Boston to be greeted by my friend, who we had worked in a hedge fund together. She had relocated back to America, to New York. Her parents lived in Boston, so we were sort of reconvening at her parents' house for the weekend. And we had Boston clam chowder for dinner on Friday night with her parents, which was just so delicious. So then when I woke up on the Saturday morning with a headache, it wasn't really what I had been expecting. We were supposed to get up and go shopping and just catch up. But one thing led to another so quickly, that one minute my friend, she was in the room saying, come on, let's get up, we need to go shopping. I started seeing black and white lights flashing in front of my eyes. Then I felt sick. Then I couldn't get out of bed. So I was throwing up in a dustbin when her mum walked past the door, looked in and said, hi girls, good morning, are you okay? Which wasn't really, as I said, in my plan to go on this work business trip. I wanted to be successful. I didn't want to be throwing up in a dustbin. But fast forward 24 hours later, her mother knew enough to call an ambulance and sort of get me seen by medical teams, who were then able to assess that after 24 hours of testing, I had actually had a stroke.
Wow.
So
wow.
Again, not what I had been going to America for, but that was the reality of it. And that sort of wake up call 9 years ago, it'll be 10 years ago next year, that wake up call has created the life and the things that I do now. It's because from that point, I then recognized that our time was our most valuable commodity, and that in those moments when I thought that was the end of my time,
wow,
that all I thought was, I want more, I need more, I can't go, I'm not ready to leave yet.
Gosh, that's really profound, Abigail, and what an incredible shock for you and your friend and your friend's family and your family, I'm sure. Incredible. Well, you look fantastic. Thank goodness for that. So from all of that, clearly you went through a massive medication, rehab, all of the things that one does to get better. So what does life look like for you today? What's your life purpose now? Has it changed?
Well, so my life purpose started that 9 years ago, that morning, that sort of winter morning. It was 5th of February 2012. And that winter morning, while I was laying there in the bed, kind of in my own head, saying, what is going on? Is this the end? I don't know. What am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be feeling? I started having a conversation with the creator, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, and asking, is this it? Is this my time? Because I hit like the metaphorical death's door. So I was like, is this it? Is this the end? And they said, no, we're not ready for you yet. And I said, good, because I don't want this to be the end. I want to have sort of more in my life. I'm 32. I'm too young. And in those conversations, I just very, very clearly remember them saying, it's your time. It's your time. It's your time. And so for me now to pass this message on to others and to have this conversation about the fact that something that we just all so readily have, like oxygen, and yet we just trade it for anything and we take it for granted, and we use sentences like, I don't have enough, or I have too much, or I disrespect it, or I don't want to. For me, time is our most valuable commodity, to the point where when I then have conversations with people and they say these things, I am like, well, what can we do to change that? So then it has become that this is my mission, to help people. So through my business with the 888 formula, it's all around helping people to change their mental view of time and where they're investing it and where they are spending it. So is it going into the work bucket, and is work sort of their entire life? Are they not getting enough sleep? So is that affecting their mental health, their physical health? Do they not have enough time for their life? So for me, my formula when I was sort of in the working world was that I would spend about 16 hours working. So, and that was just classic. That's what we all did. And sleep, you just slept as much as you got the time to sleep. And then you had no life. Well, nobody did. And so thankfully, we're in a different world now, sort of partly spurred on by the global pandemic, that we see time in a different way. We're prioritizing time and our lives in a different way. And so I guess that's sort of my mission, is just to keep this conversation going. And as I said at the start, present as many people's stories to give a body of proof that it's just your time, and whatever you are hoping and dreaming of doing, you can do.
That's really profound, Abigail. And I say often, I just haven't got enough time, because I just jam it too much with work. I know that's a classic thing that the majority of us in the Western world seem to fall into this trap. And when you've just said you had no life, it's like, oh my goodness, that's even a profound few words to say, isn't it? Had no life. Well, actually, you wouldn't have if you didn't have time. So you've got to look after your time, and therefore you've got to look after your health. In order to make the most of your time and perhaps even lengthen it. We never know if you truly lengthen it, but that is the idea, isn't it? And at least savor the time that we've been blessed with. I think that is a magic bullet. So where can we find out more and get involved with all of this?
So I hang out on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn as well, which is one of the platforms we're streaming this to, where I share content, and then a brand new social media app that's been around for sort of the last year called Clubhouse. I run rooms on there. But if you follow me on LinkedIn, you will see posts. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see posts. So pretty much all over social media. But Dr. Lynda, while I have you here, I guess I want to go into a little bit of the science and the health and the mindset and everything, and dive into your expertise. We are obviously going to have you back on the show to share your story, because I know that you've a very inspirational one. So this is just me with this opportunity to kind of dig a little bit deeper, ask the questions that I want to know answers to, but also know how the answers will benefit the audience. So if you would indulge me, I've got 3 questions for you. Now, if anyone has any questions for myself or for Dr. Lynda, please put them into the comments. If you are listening to this on the podcast, then you can always message us on our social social channels. And if you are watching this on replay, we will come back and check the comments as well. So please, please, please be in touch and let us know what you're taking away from this. And it's so lovely to see some familiar faces from the Productive Wellbeing Show. So my first question then is, what would you say are the most important variables that we can manage when it comes to looking after our health, so that we can be the most focused, the most productive at home and at work?
Well, we all know what it takes to be healthy physically and mentally, really. But I don't think people realise the importance of one of them. And the greatest one of all is sleep. We underestimate our need for sleep terribly. And it's the most important. If you don't sleep well, then you're not going to do anything else very well. And the point of sleep is that whilst we're in a certain level of sleep, we are actually flushing out with cerebrospinal fluid all the toxins that have accumulated during the day. So we don't want those toxins in our brain. We want to flush them out. So we need to sleep. And we also need to sleep to consolidate our learnings and memory of the day, so that we can make sense and evolve and develop and grow and make sense of all the experiences we've had so far. So we build upon that knowledge. So sleep is a massive priority. And when we don't sleep very well, of course, we also suppress our immune system. And let's face it, at the moment, that's our best friend, isn't it? So we really do need to be as well as possible. And I actually came up with an acronym called Unleash, which I came up with at the beginning of the pandemic. Unleash meaning helping you support your immune system. And the U was for, what is the U for? I've actually had to make a note because I couldn't remember. What's U for? I'll come back to it. U is N is for nutrition. So the N of Unleash is for nutrition. Now, interestingly enough, this is also to help us with stress and to alleviate all of those things that can go wrong in our day. So with nutrition, there was some recent research that found that when the bubonic plague happened, just before it, there was a famine. And it is believed that the famine exacerbated the death rate through the plague. So therefore, nutrition is a massive part in that, and we know how to eat properly. It's everywhere. It's been all over the news and all over various publications for many, many years. And I always think the Mediterranean diet is rather good, unless you're vegan, but things like that. So we do know about nutrition. And the next letter is L, and that is for laughter. We need to lighten up. But you have had such a story, Abigail, and to actually lighten up and to appreciate the time that you have got now, when you thought that you may have had seen the end of your time in this life, then it is something to be cherished, and to not take so many things so seriously. Where is it written that it's supposed to be serious? So maybe laughter is an incredible one. And the next one is E for exercise, of course. E for exercise. We're absolutely 100%. In fact, research has also shown that if we are exercising physically and exercising mentally at the same time, it's a double bonus on our brain health and of course our physical health. So for instance, if you are learning a new kata in karate, or indeed learning a new dance routine, you will be exercising your brain as well as your body. So that's another big one. And the next one is A for air, which is fresh air. Get out in the fresh air on a daily basis. And then of course we have S for sleep. Very important, hugely important. And the last one is H for hydration. H2O, drink lots of water. Some people think cold water, to shower in cold water or even have a swimming in the open air is very good for you. I'm sure it is had research has shown that it actually does benefit a lot of people. I'm not sure it's everybody, because I would probably cry if I got my head wet in the cold water. But yeah, so there is an awful lot that we can do to help ourselves. And add to that a social life. We are not meant to be isolated, and I think COVID and the lockdowns have shown us that. You notice just that, watching the teenagers after a lockdown, they flock to the parks to be together. So it is really important that we're together. And my favourite, of course, is, as I know you know, Abigail, is pleasure. Putting the brain in a pleasurable state, we're the most effective and efficient we can be. And that can be all sorts of things that we enjoy doing. So, yeah, there's a lot we can do, but sleep is number one.
Oh my goodness, I absolutely love all of this. And so everything that Dr. Lynda is saying, I cover in my book. Dr. Lynda's also a case study in my book, incidentally, which is called Time Management for Entrepreneurs and Professionals. So I know some of you who are watching the show live today have copies of the book. So you will know that a lot of what Dr. Lynda is recommending here is what we talk about in that book, but nothing is going to change in our lives until we do it. So I love that you said sleep, because this one has literally in the last 24 hours come up in 2 separate conversations where people have said, I just have poor sleep. And even I've had poor sleep all my life. And so I was just sort of saying, well, I'm not a sleep expert, but Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker is a great book. Also, Dr. Lynda's book. And if you don't have time, my book sort of gives you a summary of lots of different jumping off points. But sleep is a superpower, and it is something that I will hands up say I just never prioritize. I just thought it's one of those things where you just sleep because you have to. I ate for convenience, so I never joined up in my head that what I ate affected how I felt. And I love that Dr. Lynda said laughter, because I would say laughter is not something that too many of us do too often. And I will put my hands up and say, I don't laugh enough. I went to a comedy night recently. Probably that was the first time that I have laughed solidly in 2 or 3 years, because as you said, life is so serious. So thank you for all of those amazing points there. And as I said, Dr. Lynda is just incredible. Give her a follow, find out where her stuff is. She's going to come back on the show and share her story. And I would just like to ask my next question. So this is another one that comes up again and again and again and again. And what kind of boundaries or habits or routines do you think could help us on the cusp of this new year?
Well, can you believe it's nearly 2022? Doesn't that sound good? Except the ring, it's a ring to it, isn't there? 2022. It sounds really, I'm really excited about next year. Okay, the boundaries. Well, what about that little magic word no? That is probably a good start, isn't it? Rather than saying yes to absolutely everything we're asked to do, saying no, even if it's to our boss, who can be maybe perhaps a rather demanding boss, we just simply say, look, I can't do this now if you want me to finish this job here. I need to prioritize this, and I will get to that, but it won't be today. Just explain, not be rude or anything like that to cause conflict. Just explain why you can't do that at the moment, and that you will do it if it's still a priority tomorrow or the day after or next week, if that is your workload and that's what's dictating. But the answer is no. And that, I think, is something I need to learn, as well as a lot of people out there, is that we need to also say no to answering emails at 9 o'clock at night. I mean, I think the pandemic had us doing that a lot. The boundaries between work and home life got very, very vague. And we were, people were emailing at 9 o'clock at night and expecting an answer. No, you don't answer your emails at 9 o'clock at night unless it's a life or death situation. You actually answer your emails next morning when you go back into the office, or indeed your home office or your kitchen table, or wherever you're working. So I think putting those boundaries up and actually saying no to a lot of things is a big key. Big key.
Amazing. I love it. And I heard somebody say once that no is a sentence.
Yeah.
No is a sentence. So don't complain, don't explain. No is a sentence. So my final question as we wrap up this first episode, I can't believe that we're almost at the end of our time. Stress is one of the causes of the most common causes of health issues. So what is like a top tip that you could give us for managing our stress right now? And perhaps it's something that we've already covered today.
Actually stepping back and taking a breath. Even, sometimes we shoot from the hip. Somebody says something, go psh, straight in, and we're like, whoa, and then you've got all these things going on, and everybody's anxieties level rise, and so on and so forth. We need to take a breath, count it if we can, breathing in for 5, out for 5, or whatever counting you decide. Go to the toilet, go and sit in a cubicle for a couple of minutes, and just take that breath, because that will enable your body to calm down. The stress hormones will calm down. You'll be actually leaving the the sympathetic nervous system, entering the parasympathetic nervous system, which is about rest and digest, and it's about being alert but calm. That is the optimum state to be in during our day. So if it takes you doing something more, maybe it takes you spending 10 minutes meditating, if that is your thing, or indeed staring out of the window. I remember at school, if anybody stared out the window, the teachers would get really cross. But that is when the brain is really being creative, and the brain frequencies are working at an optimum level. So stare out of the window, watch the rain fall, go for a breath of fresh air, go for a walk. Try to proactively diminish your stress levels by taking care of yourself, because by taking care of yourself, you're able to take care of others.
Oh, I absolutely love this conversation. And this is almost sort of harking to the Productive Wellbeing show, because we're talking about how to be a high performer. You have to look after yourself first. So thank you so much, Dr. Lynda, for asking me the questions on the inaugural episode of the show. I am so excited to have you back on for your story, to hear more about you and why you do what you do today. So thank you for everybody who's joined us live, for your amazing comments. It's been so fantastic to see you all again. If you are watching this on replay, let us know what your top takeaway has been from our time together today. And if you're watching this on the podcast as well, or listening to this on the podcast even, then reach out on social media and connect with us. Don't be a stranger. It's good to talk to people sometimes. So with that being said, until next time, which is next week, keep an eye on social to find out who is going to be the guest next week. Stay safe, stay well, keep washing your hands, and we will see you again soon. Take care.
Bye.